Alright, this is my dad's 79 Bird. It's an esprit. It's got a 5.3 with power glide swap, cold air intake, shorty headers, dual exhaust, ITB or ICT billet relocation kit for the bits. Some of the final things we need to do to finish up are finalizing the ground. Relay box is actually in this shirt, kind of isolating it from touching ground. Probably need to 3D print something so it'll fit there nicely. The computer is also kind of floating here, and we got some rub spots here that we need to address with the intake kind of bracket. Cut it off or not, it doesn't matter. It'll fit. It'll be fine. One of the other things we need to do is add a canister for the windshield wiper fluid. Really not sure what to do about that. Looks like it's got a feed and a return, and the pump's on top of the pump itself for the actual wiper unit. It's like driven off the same motor. So we need to get that addressed too. One of the other things we're looking at is the tires. So these are off of an S10. It's a 205/75 R15, and we're looking to go a little bit wider, maybe a little bit taller, because the power glide and the rear end is a 373. So it means a 1-to-1 in second gear and a 373 in the rear. So it's looking about 120 miles per hour max. So we were looking at a 225/70 R15 with the snowflakes. However, I'm not really sure how well it's going to tuck in, because we do have some issues with the fender well. Could cut into the tire because it is lowered 2 inches, and the front has what is it, QA1 tubular front suspension underneath it, the street strip combo. It's hard to see here with this light, but the fronts need to be adjusted as well. It looks pretty level, but we might want to lower the front a little bit to get that rake. One of the other remaining items is putting in the plastic clips for the front bumper. Haven't done that yet. And the hood mount popper is not working right now. Well, it's not mounted correctly. I think this high beam's out. They all worked originally when I put them in, but I don't know what happened. We're gonna probably keep the coolant overflow as the tomato juice canister, but we did have to remove the heater hoses. What we found out was the heater core is leaking. So unfortunately, I don't really want to deal with that. So we just put a loop back. You can see it here. It's a little loop for the heater hoses, so it doesn't leak anymore. Other than that, we need a nice little tune, which we have set up a standalone wine band X series to kind of do some simple tuning with 93 on a 5.3. Should be able to add a couple degrees of timing and just trim out the fuel. Another thing to note, it does have the manual shifter, so it's a bit interesting. For me at least, I've never used one except for this vehicle, but right now it's in park. Squeeze, put it in reverse or neutral, I honestly don't remember. All the way back for first, then bump for second, squeeze for neutral, push for reverse, now you're in reverse, and squeeze for park. I don't know. It works pretty well though. I consider this a safety feature because the transmission is a manual power glide. What else works? The radio works. The blower works. We wired that all up. However, most of the gauges actually don't work because we've deprecated those in favor of the 2002 ECU. But as you can see, you can hear the fan. It's on low. This is an AC vehicle. It always is on low, no matter what you do. But you can go to high when on. But essentially, it'll only blow hot air. Cigarette lighter does work. Speaker works. Put 2 speakers in. It was originally a mono car. Wipers work. Obviously, it doesn't spray. We already talked about that. Lights work. Driver lights. Driving lights, rather. I guess those are technically the brake lights. Then when you actually turn on the lights, pull it again. Get the driving lights. These are the lows. The rear lights should be on extra brighter. Then you got highs. This is where that one light shouldn't work, so we probably need to replace. It looks like they're both out. It must be that connector again underneath the dash then, if they're both out. Because I've tested them. They work. But, yep, there she is. Gonna start her up and idle her and change some of the ECU tuned sort of stuff. Wired up the OBD2 port. Oh, where is it? It's in the retina somewhere. Here we go. So this is just the OBD2 required connections. Purple, ground, and hot. It's basically the CAN bus signals only. And so I'll use my HPtuners, plug into that, into the laptop, and adjust the tune. So we got our HPtuners hooked up. Connector. This is the VCM editor. We're going to switch to the scanner just to make sure that we're still good to go. Let's see, the car's off. So let's put that key in. Okay, the fuel pump prime comes on. Fan's on, you can hear that. We'll connect to the car. We'll go live, start scanning. So we have all the live values. All right. One of the first things I like to do with when I'm tuning these older 2002 vehicles, so I'd like to update the AFR. So the target on this ECU is an 02 Chevrolet. It came out of an Avalanche. It was a 5.3, but you see that the stoic AFR is 14.68. That's if the gasoline was actually pure gas. So a typical target that we use nowadays with having ethanol in the fuel permanently, 14.12. And if you go look at any of the newer Lambda vehicles that support it, you'll notice that the common GM AFR for stoic is 14.12. And if it's not correct, let me know. And because I've searched the forums for quite a bit. So that's the first thing I change. We'll save it. And we'll write it. Alright, you can hear the ECU cycled, fuel pump reprimed, right completed. We'll close. We can open up our scanner again. Connect. Record, start scanning. So our air should be really off because the O2 sensor is not in. And it should run a little bit richer. Yeah, good vacuum. Idle seems pretty spot on as it heats up. I need to install the O2 gauge today or tomorrow in one of the banks and disable open loop. Open loop is also disabled right now, so we'll see how close it is when it warms up. Let's see, temperature. Yeah, 30C, so it'll take a while. So I'm gonna let it warm up and I'll get back to you. Another thing that's super annoying, when I did install the ICT billet pulley relocation kit, for whatever reason this new pulley is squeaking. And I have no idea why. I've had to tighten it twice now, and it just, I don't know what the deal is. If anyone knows why, I'd love to know. But that's a new pulley on an old tensioner that squeaks like hell. Any tips would be greatly appreciated.